I paid my rent for a whole month. You know, it's like all the time when it be the first link and the receipt. I I got to use a box and I put it in here. I'm not sure where my wife is, and I'm not sure where my children is, but I am here in his room, and I paid my rent for the whole month, and you know, I always had my own place since I was like 18 years old. I had a room. Is a house on Avenue F in Birmingham, Alabama. It was like, hey, you got your own house, so you got your own place and stuff like that. You know, somebody was using like the birth certificate of April 30th, 1986, or the social security number or something like that, or the identity and the name April Williams, you know. And it seemed like looking back on it, it's like was different people, you know. So I'm not really sure where my wife is or where my children are or what was going on. But if I was 18, you know, it was the same way, you know. The girl that was with me, you know, she didn't have a job or a car or any money and stuff like that. And, you know, it's not about money or cars or her job because she didn't have a job, you know. Um, it's crazy. It seemed like different people, you know. And they said that, you know, that ever since I was little, you know, I don't know if it was from the car accident or from the medicine or the mental health drugs, they, you know, the psychiatric drugs or stuff. I don't know if it, maybe it was both. I'm not sure, but they said that they was sending it lady like a check on the first of the month. The lady, the name from the birth certificate, it said Yolanda Johnson or something. It was like, she was stealing money, you know, from me because I didn't even know that, you know, that they was doing, you know, that kind of stuff, you know. So when I was 18, you know, I had like my own place because all of the sex abuse that was done to me and the physical abuse, and they said that when it was a car accident in 1996, that it was in an accident. They said that them people did that stuff on purpose because, you know, they stole money from children, and they told people, to do that kind of stuff. It's crazy, uh, because I don't know, but I'm not really that smart, but that's why when I was 18 years old, first chance that I got, that I had, I got out of the house, and I was like, it really didn't matter where I went to, because when I was a child and they was abusing and doing bad, sick stuff to me, uh, it was in the housing projects. They called it like the projects and stuff. I was like 5 years old, and it was at 2703 Dartmouth Avenue. And I've been telling people about this stuff. And you know how people be talking about roaches and bugs and stuff like that. I was like, if you see a bug or a roach or something like that, if you growed up in the projects and you came from like what they call the hood or those bad places like that, and it's not your fault because you didn't pick the house or stuff like that, then sometimes like you don't really care about if it's a bug or if it's a roach or if it's you know weird or crazy people, because if it was like that growing up, sometimes you just be glad that you don't have to have sex with them, because even some people that told me some crazy stuff, like, okay, Social Security office like was saying that they was sending the money like on the first of the month, and then I was one of the people that get money on the first of the month, and so I ain't paying my rent. Okay, so when I don't know, I don't know if it was 2019 or 2020 or something like that, but somewhere between then and there or some. There was some other people and they was acting like they acted like they wanted me having sex with different people and stuff like that. And somebody told me, they were like, no, you don't have to have sex with the people at the Social Security office. Like it's just to pay your rent. You don't, and I don't have to have sex with the people at the Social Security office just to pay the rent. It's like, it was like it's not how it works. It was like somebody said something wrong, and it was like, it was somebody being real mean to me on the phone and stuff. I'm like, I don't really know why they would do that, because other people was like, wait a minute. They tried to tell you that you had to have sex with them in order to get a disability check. Like, somebody was trying to make it seem like that. I was like, I haven't even went to any of those places anymore since then, because I'm like, what if they tried to act like you had to have sex with them or whatever? And some of the people, I just, it's just crazy. But yeah, it's a family court case that they said was in the Jefferson County Family Court. And I have a marriage license and it says April 30th of 2004. Okay. So they told me that in the family court that I have an 18-year old, you know. So they said he grown, and the same way I had my own place when I was 18, you know. It was like, well, then he can get his own place if he 18 years old, you know. I had my own place when I was 18 years old. And the girl that was with me was using the birth certificate of April 30th, 1986. I'm not sure if she was one of the girls in the picture or if she was somebody different. I'm not really sure, you know, because it seemed like it was different people using the same birth certificate and the same social security number and the same marriage license. But they was like, well, if they say you have an 18-year-old, and if I had my own place when I was 18, and I was like, yeah, I did. It was a place on Avenue F. It was like a house or in a room, and it was like, hey, you got your own place. And I had my own place on Avenue I. It was the same way, like a house and room and stuff. And I had my own place. It was a house in East Thomas and stuff like that. And it's like a house, you know, like a 2-bedroom house and stuff like that. And it was, you know, the girl was with me, you know, and she was using the birth certificate in 1986, and I took her to school every day and stuff like that because, you know, she said she wanted to go to school and stuff like that. And, you know, she was like, you know, I never made her do anything, you know, like, I never made anyone, like, work, or I never forced anyone into being a prostitute or a pimp or any of that stuff because I'm not a prostitute and I'm not a pimp, you know. And it's like, you know, oh yeah, it was like, they say I have an 18-year-old and then he grown, so you know, he's supposed to have his own place or be doing something. And then they say I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. And like the birthdays was it was August 31st, 2004. And the girl that was with me, she said that when it was August 31st, 2004, that she didn't want to have no more children. And I said I didn't want to have no more children either because, you know, I'm not really that smart and stuff like that. And, you know, they say I don't really have to be that smart or whatever, but I'm like, you know, somebody would have to stay at home with the child or with the children or something like that. And, you know, well, that's why I was like, well, then, since I was 20 years old and the girl that was with me was 18 years old and he was a child, I was like, well, then she not really supposed to be gone or at work and stuff like that, you know, since I be paying all the rent and stuff like that and all of that kind of stuff. Or that it was different people using the same birth certificate. And it was like, I don't know, it might be something like that because it was like something that I didn't know about. Cause it was like, it was like, if I said that I didn't want to have any more children and it was August 31st, 2004, and she said she didn't want to have any more children and it was August 31st, 2004, it was like, maybe it was a different person when they said that they wanted to have a child July 18th, 2006. And I don't know where they get those ideas from of wanting to have a child July 18th, 2006. Nobody still haven't told me where they got those ideas from or whose idea it was, you know. And it was the same way because, you know, if a girl said that she didn't want to have no more children after August 31st, 2004, was it a different girl when it was July 18th using the same birth certificate for April Williams, using the same social security number for April Williams, using the same marriage license? It's crazy, you know. It make me feel crazy, you know. And then, so if there was two children, it was like when the child was born October 6th, 2008, it was like, wait a minute, just like the pictures look like different people, them seem like like different personalities, because a person said they only wanted one child. It was like, how does a person end up having three children? You know, and it was like, well, if it was more than one person, and it was not my idea that maybe it was different people doing stuff for different reasons, and it wasn't about me, and it was about some other man or some other woman or some other person's idea. Some of the people said that stuff, it was about the hyenas or sex trainers, or people was teaching people how to have sex or be a husband or be a wife and stuff like that. And then somebody had a bad idea of what they think a family or a wife or a husband should be or something like that. So, it was at the same apartment at 402 May Circle. And, the girl that was with me, it was the same way. Like, she didn't have a job or any money or stuff like that, because she wasn't working anywhere when it was August 31st, 2004. And I had moved in those apartments. It was the same apartments where I told her she didn't have to work in on July 18th, 2006. It was the same way, October 6th, 2008. She didn't have a job or any money and stuff like that. And I told her she didn't have to work anywhere and stuff like that. Because, you know, usually I pay the rent and, whatever the bills is that, for the place, it's like you don't really have to pay for that stuff. It's what they was telling me. They was like, because it was like, if it was different girls and stuff like that, and they was just being mean to you and stuff like that, and it's sexual abuse, then you're not supposed to pay money to be sexually abused, whether it's a girl or a boy. And so, I moved from a lot of those places in Birmingham or in Alabama, and I'm in Macon, Georgia now. Some of the same kind of stuff happened, but well, I'm in this room by myself now, just me. And I have a marriage license, and you know, I'm not that smart, but does anyone know where my wife is? Does anyone know who my wife is? Does anyone know where my children are? Does anyone know who my children are? Does anyone know whose idea it was of doing all of this stuff? It's crazy. I don't know if it was 2019 or 2020, but when I had put those pictures side by side and looked at it and it looked like different people, it's like they had drove me crazy. I ran looking for, the church, and they said that they don't know me. And I got beat up at the church. And, been feeling crazy ever since, you know. And since then, I've been making these videos, and it was like, man, it's wrong what they did to me. Different people use the same social security number, and they use the same birth certificate and the same marriage license, and nobody is saying what happened. So what about, so like, which one of those girls is my wife? Is any of them my wife? And what of the children? You know, well, they say one of them 18, so he probably is supposed to have his own place, just like I did. But the 16-year-old and the 14-year-old, what about them? So I was doing like video court and stuff like that, and they say that the mom can, explain like why different people was using the same birth certificate and their social security number and stuff like that, and that if somebody was being a prostitute or a pimp, then they can tell on each other or something like that, because it's not fair for the children, you know, being, you know, hurt and stuff like that just because someone else was being a prostitute or being a pimp. because I'm not a prostitute and I'm not a pimp. So, it's just a video, about, me, being where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm not sure what anyone else is doing, but wherever my wife is, whoever my wife is, I think she would be glad knowing I, was there and am here, being a husband and not thinking bad thoughts about my wife. And people did have a lot of bad ideas and bad thoughts that they was putting in other people's head and stuff like that. And, I just try not to think about it, you know. And they said it was like some police officers and courts and stuff like that, and they were supposed to find out like why was all of those people using the same birth certificate of April 30th, 1986, and why was they all using the same social security number, and why was they all using the same name? Because I didn't do any of this stuff. So so many people said my wife might be mad and my wife might want to press charges against whoever it is that did that stuff because it seems like sexual abuse that was done to me. Because somebody went to court all of them times using the same birth certificate and the same social security number and playing with souls and spirits and children and birthdays and stuff like that. Who knows what might happen when people do all of that kind of stuff, you know? So, I just been here and I haven't been having sex with anyone because I don't want to be part of whatever that bad stuff is that, you know, playing with souls and spirits and names and birthdays and stuff like that. So I got my receipts and I be putting it in this bag and so nobody won't be able to tell lies about me or where I was or what I was doing. Because people said, well, usually they always said that I was with a girl that was using the birth certificate of April 30th, 1986. And when she would be saying her name is April and would be using a marriage license, and it's like, but those look like different people. And I'm like, they do. And so I feel sexually abused. I feel like, it's wrong, you know. And it's just a video, for the family, for the children, evidence of, how I feel and what I think. And it's like, every time I went to family court, I always had a place to stay. And they said that it was nothing wrong with none of the places I was staying at. And I don't really know why all of this stuff happened. Some of the people said when I went to 2715 Avenue E. Hensley, one of them people had started a fight or they tried starting a fight. They had kicked me in the penis in my private parts for no reason at all. And I don't know why they started a fight. And, they kept trying to make me fight them